New Zealand is particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, and you would have seen this reflected in steep rises to your insurance premiums recently. Over time, sometime in the next decade, some people in the most vulnerable locations are going to find that their premiums rise very quickly and very steeply. Insurance companies will eventually withdraw from some areas entirely, and that's known as insurance retreat. Those hardest hit by insurance policy price rises are going to be those in the most vulnerable locations and those who are already struggling with the cost of living, and that makes this an equity issue for New Zealand. What we want to do is make sure we keep insurance accessible and affordable for as many New Zealanders as possible. But we also want to make sure that we are not encouraging people to keep living in places which are unsafe to live in or which are going to be very expensive to live in because they're repeatedly flooding, for example. So that means that we need a really good framework for how we adapt to climate change, where we build, how we do risk mitigation for existing houses, and how we make decisions about whether people should be moving on through a process of planned relocation and when. So the report looks at a long list of options for keeping insurance accessible and affordable. These include things like subsidising premiums for some people, making sure we set rules about how transparent insurance companies need to be about how they're setting prices, keeping the insurance market really competitive, and also standardising insurance contracts so everyone knows what they're insured for. Most importantly, the report concludes that we need some kind of public insurance scheme for flood risks, much like we have already for earthquake risks and other natural hazards under the NHC. So there are lots of options for how this could look, but the main thing is that we need to be deciding now on what we're going to go for before insurance retreat becomes really widespread.